You marinate a long weekend in a bath of games, merch, and more, and what do you get? Episode 20 of the Fresh Baked Niche podcast, where the best half-baked conversations happen. I'm your baker Patrick, and today, let's talk about an expo. Now, before we get into it, I do want to note that there's going to be a lot of pictures in this one, and for the first time ever, if you're watching the video and not just listening, I have actual footage. Yeah, I recorded basically every day the whole time we were there for this thing. And I decided, hey, let's just use this footage. It'll be really cool. But I did unfortunately miss a few items while I was getting things ready, and I didn't plan them out to talk about them. And I don't quite remember exactly when I got them. So you will just see some pictures here and there that might not correlate to what exactly I'm talking about. Just know that they were things I did get throughout the convention, but I just didn't remember exactly when or where. So getting into it, I went to the Too Many Games Expo in Oaks, PA this past weekend. It was my dad, Stash the Cash, and myself for the full 3 days. Driving out was fun for probably the first 30 minutes. It was just me and my pops, listening to a playlist I put together. It was nothing but music from video games. And then the rain came in. It didn't stop until we actually made it to the convention center, where it only held off just long enough for us to really get in. And, you know, that wouldn't have been too bad. But since we were on the turnpike for a good chunk of it, you know how that kind of goes. There was a lot of trucks, and they all decided, you know what, we're going to play this really fun game where we're just going to keep passing each other at about 1 mile per hour faster than the dude in the right lane. The spray made visibility next to nothing, and I just, you know, I have a lead foot. I will admit that. I do like to go a little faster than you probably should. But come on, man. If you're going to be passing, actually pass. I mean, don't do this thing where it's like, oh, are they even moving? That's just ridiculous. But you know what? We did make it to the show without any complications, and I'm thankful for that. Because I'm sure we all know that raining plus driving does not always bode well for people. Badge pickup was also real straightforward. I mean, thankfully we were able to get in, get our stuff, and not too many issues. And I will note this later, but I just want to say now, I am so thankful we picked them up on Friday. I do know that there was Thursday pickup, but I had work and it just wasn't feasible to go out then. For the first day, I mostly wanted to do reconnaissance. That's what I like to do when I get to a convention. It's nice to be able to get your bearings and know where the different zones are, whether those be the stages or the free play areas. It's also nice to scope out what vendors actually showed up. Also, as a note, we did find some free merchandise on a table. Or at least I'm hoping they're free. They were just a couple of magnets sitting on a table next to some pillar out in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't anybody standing by, so apologies that they weren't, but they are now on my fridge. During the walk around, though, I did end up completing one of my biggest goals for this con, and that being I nabbed 3 signatures from some of the special guests who arrived. The first signature I got was from Kari Walgren. She was super awesome to meet, and even gave me a fist bump because I was wearing my Uno shirt, and apparently it was one of her favorite games growing up, which, you know, as a well-known Uno fanatic, I was super excited to hear. Had an absolutely lovely conversation, and I got a picture that you can see here, signed by her. Now I should note, the signature wasn't for me, it's actually for my sister. When I told her a few months ago that I was going to this con, I gave her the guest list and said, hey look, I know you love voice actors, especially ones that are on both TV and in games. Is there anybody here you'd be interested in maybe getting something signed from? And immediately she was like, yeah, I want Kari's signature. And I'm like, you know what? Done and done. I did tell Kari this, and she absolutely appreciated it. I mean, her eyes completely lit up, and she wanted me to give my sister a very heartfelt hello once I finally see her again. And, you know, I really appreciated that. It was very nice to meet her, and if somehow she's hearing this, thank you so much. I then made my way over to the one person I really wanted to see, Charles Martinet. For those of you who somehow don't know, that's Mr. Mario as far as I'm concerned. He was the voice actor for many, many years and basically throughout my whole childhood, only recently retiring in the past couple years. Not to say the new guy's not bad, but he got some real big shoes to fill. And you know what? It was just real nice to getting to chat with him for a second. It was really cool also while standing in line, because every person's thing he signed, he did Mario's voice while doing it as if it was Mario himself. It was just real fun and real neat. Also, as you can see in this picture, Charles went absolutely ham on signing this thing. I thought he was just going to give me like a quick little thing on the bottom or what have you. But no, he just did it completely up. And you know what? I appreciate it. But as good as it was, I did need to make my way over to one more person because my work was not quite finished yet. And that signature I needed was from Samantha Kelly. That's right, Princess Peach and the Toads. Unfortunately, by the time I got to her line, she had been taking a break, but she was due back soon, and I ended up being, I think, second in line, which, you know what, perfect. Had an absolutely lovely conversation with her. And I thought it was really awesome that she did both Peach and Toad in different colors. I think it just really adds that little bit of pop. I also love the cute little drawing she did of Toad. With now my biggest goal in tow, all that was really left to do was check out the rest of the areas, which right beyond the signing was the tournament / indie area. We did end up getting some time to hang out in the free play arcade. It was pretty nice. My dad spent most of his time playing on pinball. Me and Stash were able to hang out on the dual-person Mario Kart machine. Very, very cool. And then we walked back to the vendor area just to see what we could find. I ended up getting my first pickups for the con, those being Uno for the Game Boy Color and Uno Freefall for the Game Boy Advance. Obviously, big Uno fan, just had to pick them up. Plus they had the booklets, which I miss booklets in games. I really wish they would come back, at least in some shape or form. I know most games have in-depth tutorials, or you can just go to a menu to read how to actually play it. But I think part of it was just the charm of having access to some of the artwork, as well as just little snippets of lore and other things going on. Again, I wish they'd come back, but that's, I think, a point for a different video. While walking around, we did end up doing a wine tasting from Renegade Winery. There was some real good stuff, and we actually ended up picking up 4 bottles over the next few days. Specifically, we got Too Many Games, the Pear Fruit, Pink Crush, and Intergalactic. I think the Pear was probably my favorite, but Intergalactic was a close second. They're all sweet, because frankly I hate dry wines, and I look forward to having them with some dinners here and there. Now, I don't remember exactly when it happened on the first day, but I can validate the fact that I got to try my first Monster energy drink. It's not something I would ever normally have, mostly because the high amount of sodium always kind of scared me as someone with a family history of heart conditions. But, you know, they were giving out some keychains, lip balms, and temp tattoos, and cans. And I figured, hey, what the hell? So I got one, I tried it. I like the original much better than the sugar-free. But you know what? I see why people like this brand. It's not bad, but I'll probably never have another one for the rest of my life. Like I said, the sodium is a big problem for me. One of the final booths we ended up stopping at did a lot of custom woodwork art pieces. Really awesome stuff. A lot of it was Pokemon related, and they were Game Boy cartridges that had the evolutionary lines. He even had shiny variants of some of them. I think what was really neat was that if you follow them on social media, you ended up getting a little Pokeball filled with some stickers and even a figurine. To end our first day, we got back to the hotel, checked in, and then we ended up going to this place called O2 Korean Barbecue. It was my first time trying that kind of food, and it was really nice. For those who don't know, Korean barbecue places are the kind where you order a raw plate of meat, and then you cook it yourself. I like that you could get your stuff the way you liked it, because if you got like steak, you know, you could get it medium, you could do it well done if you wanted. I mean, I'm not a well done guy, but the option's there, and that's amazing. Now, if you want to see some pictures from that meal, you will need to head over to my Blue Sky account to check them out. And hey, while you're there, maybe consider following, because I don't just post food stuff. I try to keep you updated on anything that's going on with the channel, and any general thoughts. It was also a good way for people to get a heads up on the fact that I got the Mario Sunshine signed. Say that 10 times fast. The fact that I was able to do it once is concerning. So day 2, I was so glad that we had gotten our passes the day before, because that crowd wrapped around the building by at least halfway, if not more. And it felt so cheesy being able to just circumvent all of it and just blow past probably a good 1,000+ people. Now, I should note that it's not completely the people's fault that the line took so long. I'm chalking that mostly up to the security checkpoint. The unfortunate truth is, they only had like one line, and if you were someone like me with a bag, you had to play this really fun game every day where you'd walk through the metal detector, get into a different line to check your bag, where you ended up having to take out anything that didn't meet the criteria on a certain list, walk back through with your bag, and assuming you got approval, head back to the bag table to collect all your things, and then continue on. I don't know why it was set up like that. I really feel like it should have been two completely separate lines. One for people without bags or cosplay, and then one for people with cosplay and bags. That way, you could get it to move a little bit differently, and honestly, I don't know why they didn't get one of those little bag check machines. I'm sure they're a bit pricey, but with events like this, I feel like it'd be easier if I could just drop my stuff on a conveyor, walk through the metal detector as myself, have somebody check my bag and go, oh yeah, this dork's just got some cameras and a 3DS in his bag. Let him go. And it'd be just so much quicker, plus you'd be moving the line in one straight direction instead of having it loop back in on itself a couple different times. I digress. I don't know why. That really bugged me. And I think it's one of the reasons why I maybe don't want to go back, but we'll touch on that in a minute. So getting back on topic for day 2, it was a really good day for pickups. First of all, I found an original Japanese Pokemon Center exclusive Game Boy Color. I also apologize if you can hear the birds. I'm not re-recording all of this just because of them. I also got a hold of another copy of Uno Freefall. In this case, it's sealed in box, which is super duper awesome, and honestly, it's just another part of the Uno collection at that point. Now, an interesting thing, I was perusing a vendor that was selling a lot of like Japanese only merch, some keychains, some candies, that kind of stuff. I weirdly enough found a copy of Uno, in this case Cran Shinshin, which is just awesome. And I just had to pick it up. Again, big Uno fanatic, I'm going to take the opportunity. Now after lunch, I did get lucky and I found a copy of the Metal Slug Anthology on the PSP. Super pumped. I played the series, I think, on computer like a long time ago. I think might be a fan game. But, to actually have it is really awesome, and even on the PSP is better. The only issue is, though, the battery in my unit decided to explode. So I will need to get a replacement, which is fine. I found a good one, as well as a new charger, because I can't find that either. I'm not sure where it got to. I probably just lost it while cleaning or moving some things. But neither here nor there. That should be awesome. Now, this was a free pickup, but it was certainly a little weird, and it was 2 copies of Pocket Paragon's dual set. The lending library was handing them out, and I mean, it's cool, but you only need 1 for 2 people, and they gave us like 1 per person. So, a little weird, but that's fine. Now, I should say, this is a video game convention, but there was a lot of non-video game things going on. I mean, there was a cosplay wrestling competition, but one of the biggest things that I was able to do was I took an opportunity to play some TCGs, because the Banished Zone was hosting some Learn to Plays and some demo events, and I jumped on the opportunity. I did play some Flesh and Blood. Honestly, really cool. I liked the back and forth. I really, really liked how you weren't out until you were done. The dude who was teaching me said it was probably one of the best games he had all weekend, because we both got down to 1 HP, and I only ended up losing because I just kind of ran out of cards in my demo deck, which, if you have no cards, you can't really attack and you can't really defend. So, but it was one of the closest he had, and that was really cool to hear and be able to experience. However, the second game I played really took the cake for me. I finally got a chance to demo Grand Archive. I've been aware of it, but I never really looked into it. And what was super cool was they actually had me and Stash play each other, instead of the teacher teaching one of us, then doing the next person. So 2 demos for 1, and it was more balanced in the sense that we both were just kind of, learning together. He ended up winning, as, frankly, my hand was bricked. I think I had 3 cards that cost 4 or more, and there was never an opportunity to actually play them. So I was just kind of losing the resource game there, which is unfortunate, but it does happen in games. But you know what? It was worth it, because we both got a booster pack for playing. And you know what? I liked it so much, I ended up making a beeline straight to their booth, and I literally bought one of everything. Yeah, it's a bit excessive, but I like it. I see the potential, and honestly, I might be really getting into it. But if you want to know more about that, please go to my other channel, Cuddlyfish. I'm planning on making a video talking about it just a little bit more in depth, because I got some plans. But, I did find a local store near me that does hold events, and I might be trying to see if I can get in on them. Now, that does about wrap up day 2. Since we were done, obviously we had to go to dinner. we ended up hitting this place called McGurk's Bar and Grill. My family loves it. We don't make it out a lot because of the distance, but it is super awesome. They have some of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had. Although this time around, I did end up picking up the burger nachos because I wanted something with a little bit more vegetation in it. And I figured between the pickles, the lettuce, and the tomato, I'd be covered at least a little bit. Not to say I wasn't trying to, eat like crap, but at the convention center, for at least lunches, when a burger is half the price of a salad, I'm going to pick the burger and just save a few dollars, Regardless. Day 3, our final day, not too much happened. I mean, we had basically got through everything we needed to do, so we just kind of hung out. We watched some more of the cosplay wrestling. We did demo some more games. I think the biggest one for us was Neon Inferno, which comes out later this year. Really cool side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. It handled real well. I was really pleased with it. My only thing that I don't quite know is if you're forced into doing co-op, because it had you only really being able to do it as 2 people in the demo, but, we'll see. We did end up actually doing a free miniatures painting. They had a bunch of them on a table. You'd pick one up. It was already pre-primered, and all you had to do was just kind of go sit down, start playing with some paints, and, you were done when you were done, and, I thought that was cool. Also, weirdly got another copy of Pocket Paragons, because I guess they had too many, and they just really, really wanted to push them on you. Now, the biggest thing we did before heading out, at least for me, was I did get one more opportunity to play Flesh and Blood and Grand Archive. For both, they ended up having me and Stash play each other, which was super cool. Although, at least with Flesh and Blood, it ended up more being the 2 people running the demo were using us as avatars to play the game. But it was fine. I did end up losing, though. I just got really screwed on what I was drawing into, so I really didn't have a whole lot of ways to block. So it was just a lot of chip damage, but, that's fine. I did, however, end up winning that game of Grand Archive, where we were basically left alone to do it. The dude teaching was helping some other people with some things, which was fine. He checked in every once in a while and did address any issues we had, but for the most part, it was us just running with it, and honestly, that's cool in itself. I think we picked it up pretty well, and like I said, it was very enjoyable. Now, the final pickups I did make for the day, because we did make one more swing through the vendors area. I managed to pick up a case and booklet for Paper Mario Sticker Star, as well as a demo disc for the Sega Dreamcast. They were in some bulk bin, and they were, I think, buy 2 for $5. And weirdly enough, I actually needed a case for my copy of Sticker Star because I got it loose a few years ago. But now they're complete, which I very much appreciate. And then lastly, I managed to find the one game I was looking for all weekend, and it was a copy of The Simpsons Hit and Run. Now, it's on Xbox. I would have probably preferred PS2 or even GameCube, but the one time I found it for something, it was for GameCube, and they were charging like $85. And for me, that was just a lot, considering I think I only paid like $30-$40 for this. I do look forward to the chance to finally play it legitimately. Sure, I probably could have pirated it, but I didn't want to do that. And, that was it for the day. We were good. The con was open for maybe 1 more hour. So we decided we were going to part ways. And as me and my dad were heading to the car to head home, we actually ran into John DiMaggio for half a second. For those who don't know, he's the voice of Bender Bending Rodriguez, or Jake the Dog. He was getting into the blacked out SUV that they were providing, probably taking him back to the hotel. And I had to chuckle to myself after we said hello, because a number of people waited multiple hours just to see him, much less even get a signature. And I literally got a hello just on the street. But that was it. We came home, I unpacked, I got a good shower, and I got to work writing this script. So, overall, I thought it was fun. I don't think it's something I would want to do every year, though. I mean, if there was a voice actor I absolutely needed to see, like in this case, I really needed to see Charles, then I'd go. But there was some issues, and I do want to talk about them. But, I will say, before I talk about it, if it's even remotely interests you, if you like video games and you want to go check it out, do it at least once. And you know what? There's a good chance that maybe these things were just unluckiness, I guess to put it. But, I thought it was worth it. And honestly, if you are going to go, I'd highly recommend doing the mini boss or the next higher tier, because with VIP access, you got to cut a lot of the lines, and looking at the prices, you got a free shirt and a pin, which those two items together added up to quite a bit of money. So if you take that off of the price of your VIP badge, you basically paid like a couple more dollars than just the regular weekend pass. So honestly worth it. But, going back to the issues I want to mention, everybody should be allowed to attend this convention, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I found a lot of rudeness going on. There was a lot of times where I was getting like shoved backwards, ran into, or even just like cut off while trying to go somewhere. And I don't know if it's just excitement or what have you, but the lack of self-awareness was just a little concerning. Also the yelling, because there was a number of times where I felt my ears just straight up ringing for a few minutes because someone decided to get, I don't know, excited, angry, I don't know. They would just get really loud all of a sudden to a point where people would stop what they're doing to turn and look at them. And that's kind of a problem. Like, I mean, you're in a sort of public forum, just, bring it down a little bit. But, again, people should be allowed to go to these things. They should be able to enjoy it. And I'm not saying that those people shouldn't be there. Again, I think the big thing is just be self-aware. Like I said, don't let me drag you down on this one. If you get that opportunity, go to Oaks, PA. Go to Too Many Games. Get that opportunity. Go see your favorite YouTubers. Go meet some voice actors. The worst thing you can do in life is just let it pass you by without trying those experiences. And for me, this is an experience I've now had, and that can just sit with me forever. So, I hope you found this insightful and maybe helpful if you didn't know what was going on. Or maybe you found it entertaining, just me talking about what I've done. If it drummed up some interest, let me know. If you have any questions as well, hey, take them to the comments. And, while you're down there, maybe consider dropping a like or even a subscription. It helps out the channel quite a bit, shows me what people are interested in. And, I'm doing this some more as a hobby, but at least it validates it some more, so that's cool. It's always great to hear from you guys. Or, hey, message me on Blue Sky or Twitter or Instagram. I have all of those. Hey, I think that's going to be about it. As always, thank you for baking with me today, and I really hope to see you next time. Goodbye.